And end of the day, in Atif case, what the carrier was providing was completely wrong. And we could understand after 5 or 6 days that the information that they provide is completely wrong. And we have to ask them again and again and again till they provide the right document. But we was just pushing in a hole with no clue if it will solve or not. And they was easily blaming us. Right? In your case, Abdullah as well. And later on you could find a lot of problem. In Abdullah case, the carrier there is not really cooperative, so we have to adapt anyway. We have to find a way to solution. Because carrier will respond after 5 or 6 days. And they'll say, yeah, this is your problem. This is the way they are.
So Khalid, please, from your experience and with us and with the other, if we mention what is the most importance
Everything is important.
that we have to ask the carrier about
everything
them.
is important. The carrier should explain for you each and every pre-requirement. That's why we have in the BusinessNet portal for certificate of the carrier. For example, Etisalat doing for Etisalat carrier. They already do interoperability test before we sell any 95 in Dubai. The carrier themselves is certified for this. So there is nothing very important. Everything is important because one parameter could change. One parameter, the Cybertron could fail. Because it's not like standardized ISDN. In standardized ISDN, you have a couple of questions you can ask. But then there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. And still keep changing. Maybe the carrier today will come with update and you have to adapt yourself with. So we have to put the responsibility in the carrier side. What you are going to change, I will support, but tell me what you want. I will give you a nice example that we did with 95.
اسبوعين باربع معه واعطونا شو بدهم.
Do you have that paper
لا والله ما
supply
لا
from
يا اخي
the
عندك
carrier?
المشكله بس. طيب يا اخي خليني احكي يا اخي تحكيش معي بقول مباشر. افتح كيف تكت زي ما انا في الموقع شو افتح تكت.
بيكتب انت السايت وكل Did you connect it to your soft phone or something and check that line is working or not before you are connected to the system? No.
Where?
SIP carrier.
Soft phone, I have the real physical phone only for the soft.
No.
Even a soft phone is there in market.
No, if you are connecting the soft phone, if you receive the call and transfer the call, the parameters should be correct.
This is the case. We have SV85 those days and S7. This is the details and Cybertron route and the one code of the route and its extension. And this is the MG set connected via Ethernet to BSDN. This is the minimum what we have to ask Etisalat for. Minimum. And even we ask all of this and we could find after a few days that it's still missing. We still need more information from Etisalat side to proceed, to be able to proceed. As for their IP address, subnet mask, subserver, host name, which protocol they are using, domain name if they are using, and your user ID if you have user ID, your password and your DID range. Yeah, I will give to you, no problem. No problem. I will put it to you in the added data. And I think I put in your flash a kind of example. If you would like to go with a carrier to certificate test that you want to make sure I don't want to struggle every time when I connect to carrier, there's a kind of set of tests that you have to do to verify that this carrier is supported with 95. It's already there in your flash. Don't go for as much as you can. I'm trying to be really realistic. In Europe, it's a must. It's a must to do the certificate test with the product before you connect the Cybertron. To be more realistic, this is not really happening. They just ask Atif and Abdullah, this the box goes and customers have fix. I'm sure this is what really happened. But again, you really know how much you suffer because of others' mistake. In both case, in Atif case and Abdullah case, completely there was not any single mistake from their side. I revised the configuration by myself. Nothing. But I have to adapt with someone who don't explain for me what he's using. And how long, Abdullah? At least 1 month. We're really struggling.
Yeah, outgoing calls is having issue.
Even till today, not everything is solved. Right, Abdullah? Not everything is solved. And they could not.
What is the remaining?
Sort it from your side, please.
The,
This is
pro-
your problem.
the problem with these carriers, they would like to show, yeah, we are the only people who can.
What is the
do
vendor's
this.
name? Supplier's name?
Yes, yes, yes.
This is.
Saudi Telecom.
They are one of the most
Dangerous people.
Yes. I can see only nice. Akfon, as it's used for ISDN, the example that I write it down here, that may be asked if 6460291 is not assigned for any extension, that the call will be rerouted for the BCT operator. The same concept is applied on Ciptron. But this will be happen if you receive this response from the carrier. That means 403 is forbidding condition, that I don't have this extension in my system. So all of my code which is forbidden, I want to reroute to the operator. Here is the list of RFC that we supported. RFC 3261 is the major one. And all of these are sub RFCs. Following the RFC 3216. RFC 61 is the big container, which has the name of SIP calling. The other are feature and services which supply the features of SIP, if it's a trunk or a station. Clear? Because this sometime you maybe spend some time before you find this information in the manual. So what I did, I just make it in a summary. Before, some carrier, some good carrier, they tell you, yeah, we have, can you support this protocol? Yes or no, before we start the testing. So the answer will be clear, yes or no.
Why they are supplying the nameplate with this box and with a separate?
Good question.
Why they are not putting it on?
Because Abdullah, the same box is for 4 purposes. You can use as a SRMPC, you can use as a 96 SR MGSIP or 128 or SR1 for purpose for the same box. And this was a clever move from NEC Japan. They moved also the 16 MGSIP. For me, I don't like the concept of MGSIP 16. Because this kind of enterprise not really utilizes 16 channel in one destination. If it's 32, it's fine.
Yes, that it is.
But 16, no.
But what's the point?
This was the initial requirement from the customers. That's why NEC Japan come with a 16. And now in Europe we only said 120.
But seeing the demand on the 128 instead of the 16, why don't they upgrade it?
We already have 128.
I mean 32.
We only sell in US they are only insisting to have 16. And in Europe we are really insisting to have 128. So NEC Japan killed both.
Now we purchased from the MG6 card with the flash.
Yeah.
Flash is included
Yes.
in the software.
No, nothing is there. You have to do.
Yes.
I bring for you a lot of surprises here to do the burn of the flash by yourself. And you have the software in your USB. Clear?
Clear.
Alternative router is also possible with simple trunking. That means there's a couple of reasons or a couple of failures that if this failure happen, the MGSIP will be considered as a failed route and the call will be rerouted somewhere. With the ISDN it's very simple. The route is congested or the link is down. Done. But here, because we have multiple service conditions, that how the alternative routing will happen. In the LAN side, if the Ethernet cable failure or the connection failure between MGSIP and 95, it will be considered as a failure. If it's powered off, again, but after the checkout time. Also Ethernet with the WAN and network failure with the WAN also be busy. Also some error messages from the carrier like 4XX, 5XX messages could be considered as a failure. If I try to call outside and I receive 408 message, that means no, from the carrier. carrier reply for me in this route, you are restricted because you have a bills. So I can reroute the call, not only based on the failure, also in the response messages. For example, 400 is bad request, that the carrier could not understood your request, what you want, what do you want in this. I mean, if I have two SIP routes, and this is my main route, and the ID range in this route allowed, for example, 0291, and I want to call with DID 1000. This will be considered as a ununderstood format, so the call can be rerouted for the other MG-SIP, which can have this kind of DID. 408 can go to that request timeout that the carrier is not really responding for you. Only the carrier problems, yeah, can be rerouted. Or 480 that the transaction is not allowed. I mean, you are connected to the SIP server and the SIP server is not allowing you to complete this call. Also can reroute the call or overflow the call for a different route, and many others. SIP trunk can work in one external server as we agreed, or can register to multiple internal stations. Peer-to-peer, no need for registration. What I need to say here, for local area calls, I have an OT system and an EC system, and I want to connect between both in the same room. No need for encryption. No need for username and password. I can assign username and password per user. That means I want to keep Abdullah extension only allowed to call from this route. From the SIP level, I can put the username and password for this user based on user ID of Abdullah or SIP URI for Abdullah to have a kind of registrar that can allow Abdullah to call outside. Or station to external world. I don't just push the calls outside from my system. The three options are possible. This is mainly used with the carriers because I can give you a nice example. You have a secretary and you have a salesman and you want to charge the salesman via his account in the carrier. So if he use his extension, the carrier will register this call for his account. For his account. If I make a call, it will register to my account. I mean the account from the carrier side. So we receive complete bill with 1,000 euro, for example. 500 is registered in my account and 500 is registered in your account. Here is mainly used one in Middle East, and this is for peer-to-peer connection with other vendors. How to configure MG-SIP? It's much more easier than other media converter. Media converter, you have to set SIP SB and one-time password and E1, some additional configuration. Here, no. You just go with config and show config. That means I need you to see what kind of functionality, what kind of things that you can see in your MG-SIP configuration. You can see your MAC address, your registration data with the system, some common configuration, more configuration. This is the most important one. The SIP configuration. This is really looks like your SIP profile. And some route or gateway configuration. Here is how this looks like. I have MG-SIP and my MG-SIP carrier is SIP.NET, for example. So I can configure my MG-SIP independently here with this carrier. If I there, also the call can be rerouted through my carrier. And also, if you remember that yesterday we were talking about connected number, I can make a translation that I do in BRI, ISDN, in the MG-SIP as well. Remember the ACCTN and ACCDN. You can do the same kind of conversion for the tandem call between MG-SIP and BRI. For the tandem call, the call just passes from here to there. Also, now, if I select in the show config, I want to see 0, it will show me the MAC addresses of my Ethernet ports. If you remember, each and every card in UD50 will come with a virtual MAC address. The medium box, MD6 code 8LC, The BRI would come with a single MAC address, but here the MAC address is registered per Ethernet port. And normally we register to the system using Ethernet 1. So this is the MAC address that you really need to use in the registration to the system. If you select number 1, you have to set here your LAN 1 active IP address only. What about if I have a dual CPU? Again, active, because it's using internal BHI, and internal BHI is a system resource. And the board that you want to register is not 5060s, 3456 only. Again, in the first slide I said, the relation between MGSIP and 95 is QSIG. Looks like kind of QSIG. So this is a kind of proprietary QSIG for MGSIP device. So this is a registration board for proprietary. If you select 2, you can select some common signaling, like which UDP board you are using for signaling, which registration board, if you have a RTB board numbers. This is, for example, boards that use for RTB. If you want to implement with a SIP carrier or you want to implement with a carrier over a firewall, you have really to know these boards. So they can tell the firewall, please open this boards for me so I can set my RTB traffic. You also can set here your quality of service parameter. We'll talk about this in details in the advanced course in the quality of service day. But basically you can adapt your quality of service parameter in the Ethernet side internally and the carrier side. If the carrier support the quality of service parameter, you can support as well. Also you can set here your SIP, your domain, network domain, as well as your DNS domain or DNS server that can give you the translation. You can set also the call hold type. You remember the call retention feature in MGBRI, that if the SV95 goes down, I have a peer-to-peer call retention. You can use it again here. It's by default enabled, by the way. And also here you can enable SIP name display. And to be honest,
Music there? Music also there is, or
yeah, you can select from the internal music encoder, the MGSIP itself. You can select it from the VS32 itself. Both because MGSIP is, end of the day, a media converter. Media converter is an IP device. IP device can be handled via VS32. Also, you can select your networking type. I don't know if anyone start to use version 6. In many enterprise organizations, they start really to provide IP version 6.
Sit
Really?
call hold how 3 seconds for
Okay. Set call hold. I will repeat it again clearly. You remember the feature of core retention that we talked during the MGBRI? That 95 is working fine, MGBRI is here, IP phone is here. If 95 goes down, what will happen? The call will go down.
Yes.
But if you enable the core retention feature in MGBRI, this, by the way, could be a question of the exam. MGBRI, enable the core retention, the call will continue even if 95 is not there. Because the voice path is peer-to-peer. And this is the same feature. Clear?
Yes.
كان بالنسبة للRIP version 6
Yeah.
كنت تحكي عنه إنه
Many enterprise organizations start to implement it. Because they reach up to a point that IP version 6, version 4 cannot comply with their requirement.
in terms of
Capacity, number of users. I can give you a nice example of Sumitomo, or Mitsubishi, Hitachi, even KDDI, Toshiba, all of them they are using now IP version 6 for their enterprise office. Clear? Here also you can select your country code. Normally we say auto. That means, if you remember index ASYDL index 810, which define your region or your language or tunes, set of tune. If you notice, all of these are EMEA tune. These all are European countries. Because little bit European different than other territories. You remember yesterday we hear the tune? This is really a busy tune. For them this is a busy tune. Our continuous tune is for them a busy tune. T, our busy tune for them is a dial tone. This is. So normally use the auto. Because you don't know, for some reason, you could you could have a connection with the system that you need to follow the system configuration. Or you can set the exact musical hall tune or whatever tune if you are connected for other carrier, which connected for example in Austria or Belgium. In 95, as you said, we have a new feature called ALO-MULO conversion. For example, could be that you are connected in Dubai and you have office in US. And because they have only carriers with a MULO. They have only carriers with a MULO. So what if I send one MG set there and it's connected via VPN to my system? I cannot send the same G711 ALO to US. So internally I'm using G711 or G711 MULO and I want to convert it again to MULO or vice versa. This also is possible, that you can convert ALO and the MULO. Also you can have a kind of band control or volume adjustment. Some people who have very sensitive ears, we'll talk about this in the advanced course, they can detect the digital to IB conversion or IB to IB conversion. So this kind of band control or echo cancel setting you can enable in the setting of MPC. Sometimes you need to change your soft SDB, which is the features of band control and codec convert. You can say my BCM record is ALO or MULO and I want to interact, I want to change this codec. Or I can adjust the dB level of my code. If you press 3, you can set up your Ethernet 1 or Ethernet 2 IB addresses and Ethernet speed. If you have a 2 Ethernet, you have to select no for the use one port only, and you have to select here is the Ethernet 1 is the IBX side, that means the 95 side, and the Ethernet 2 for the SIP side. Here you can set your IB address, subnet mask, the interface of the Ethernet. Let's have a break for 10 minutes because this is a new subject.
Excuse me, Khalid. عملت هاي امبارح
ان شاء الله جاهز. ان شاء الله جاهز.
جاهزة؟
ان شاء الله.
احكي لك يعني
بعت لي مسج مو.
ها؟
بعت لي مسج.
بعت لك؟
ومفروض ترى بيني وبينك اوفيشالي خليه يروح على التكت ليك كيس. اوفيشالي. انا بيني وبينك يعني بعد الكيس المشروع هذا ان شاء الله جميع البارتنر هحملهم كلهم على البورد. ما بقدرش انت عارف بس هذا من شهر 2 برا المكتب. ما قعدت ولا دقيقة جوا المكتب، مش قادر اقعد اجاوب على التكت تبعتي. عرفت علي كيف؟ بس انا عارف معتز بالسايت مضغوط.
وهي بعدين اللي انا شغله يعني المفروض انها بسيط تضيف رقم ثاني
هي اذا بدك على الرقمين حكيت لك في فيتشر ذكر اول امبارح حكيت لك عنها.
هي بس انا اول
المفروض هي موجوده على المانيا، حكيت لك على اسم دول كود. بس هي كل هيك انا سويت له فيتشر ثانيه اذا بده يضيف اكثر من ثانيه. بسيط انا بعرف انه حرام مضغوط
هو كلياتنا كنا مضغوطين هي اول انستليشن لسه جايه بدور عاصم بس يركب اول مره.
بس هي فكره اخي عاطف دائما مرة. الطريقه هاي بتصل بس رح تتعثر كثير. لو قعدت اتذكر وقت حضرت الكورس انت السنه الماضيه بشهر 4 لو قعدت بس يومين عملت بروجكت بلان ما صارش كل الاسبوع.
خالد بالواقع غير ما من الواقع انت وشفت كيف لما توقع في المشكله قدامك وانت قاعد جنب الكاستمر
تركيز
يعني احنا متى مش المفروض كنا نبلش بشهر 7 لو كان معي 4 5 اشهر متى اجانا السيستم؟ اجانا من هيك شهر 11
ما عندك فيرتشوال ماشين حكيت لك
حطونا في خانه ليك ويجوا قالوا لنا معكم اسبوعين تخلصوا.
عارف
اسبوعين شو بدي اخلص اسبوعين؟ انا جاي اصلا بدي اتعلم.
لاحظ خاطر احنا بدناش نزيد السخان هم الناس هذول هيك بيشتغلوا بعشوائيه. انت لازم تكون انظم واحد فيهم من ناحيه اداريه. انت اللي عندك خبره انت صاحب السيستم اونر لازم تكون جاهز قبل ما تروح. مجرد ما رحت دخلت جوا المطحنه راحت عليك، بتتحملهم زي ما هم، بتقبل شروطهم زي ما هم. بس انت لو انك مثلا بروجكت بلان مسلمه قبل بشهر والعمل ما بتحركش الا بيوم ساعه ثاني، بده يصير يجي يمون عليك، خليه يمون عليك ماشي. بس انا البروجكت بلان انا اللي محدد، انا الاوربت تبع كل مشروع بدي اكون. احنا دخلنا بقد عاطل قدامنا 6 كونتراكتر والكباس تبع السيستم 12000 يوزر، تمام؟ والتايم ويندو تبع البروجكت شهرين. تسلم بوقته لانه احنا الوحيدين اللي كنا كونستنت، احنا الوحيدين، بقيه الكونتراكتر اليوم ما خلصوش، احنا خلصنا سلمنا، تمام؟ هي صار لهم سنتين لسه مسلم.
خالد شو قصدك ببروجكت بلان؟ انه تكون عارف
بس البروجكت بلان، البروجكت تعريف البروجكت تاسك بتبدا في يوم معين وتخلص بيوم معين. انت بتكون راسم خطه لكل يوم.
لكل يوم ايش راح يصير؟
طبعا
والله خلدوا عندنا مرة بتعرف مثلا اوكي احنا بلشنا بالبروجكت اسبوعين عم ترجع فيه يعطينا يا اخي الاي بي تاج، يا اخي اعطينا الاي بي تاج، اجى اعطانا اياه بعد ما اشتغلنا وخلصنا ولا بقول انا سوري يعني والله هاي الاي بي هاي كلها ما بدي اياها، رجعوا غيروا لي اياها مره ثانيه.
البروفيشنال نتورك بتدفعوا عشان يجيب كورس. هذا زي وقته وخبرته والعلم اللي عنده مش ببلاش مصاري. بندفعوا فلوس على العمل اللي عملها. عندك بكره لا سمح الله في هذا المشروع ما بيلوم لك عقد، ما بيلوم على ثاني. دائما
يعني ايش طلباتهم زي هاي مثلا والله شوف كيف بيجيب طلب بيضيعك يوم يومين وتدور عليها، والله بدي الموسيقى الميوزك هول بتبلش من بعد لا ما بديش اياها من اول، يعني شغلات سخيفه.
بعد ما صار المشروع انا بالعاده بعد ما صار المشروع ببلشوا بالشغلات هاي بالعاده حاضر بعد ما الواقع الزبون على ورق النهائي بياخذ كل فلوسك يكون عنده شهر وانت تعمل له تيون اب لما راح عليه هو بقول لك روح روح بس مو موقع انت سالب مصاريف فياخذ عنده شهر لما هو بقول لك روح روح.
بس بدك تحكي I will charge him for the
اذا كان بالطريقه اللي انا بروفيشنال
اوكي بس
وقت اخي عاطف لما يجي لما يقعد هو بالسايت ويحاول يكافح ويساعدهم يسوي لهم كل شيء بالاخير بيلموه. يعني مش عادل العمليه صح؟ سوى كل اللي عليه وهو بيلموه بالاخر. يعني بالعكس انا متاكد انك حاول سوى اكسترا اوردينري جوب ويعني بالمونه وبالاخويه ومن هذا اللي يسويها.
بس كيف تحسبها؟
بدك تكمل كورس بروجكت مانجمنت حجي السنه الماضيه
لا صار قصدي كيف تحسب التشارج هاي؟
بتكون اصلا بري كوميونيكيتد.
اوكي
نعم اذا بدنا اي تشينج ريكوست هالقد بتكلفك.
اوكي
بالعقد والعقد عباره عن وثيقه قانونيه
between two parties.
لما تتغلط عادي ياخذك على المحكمه جرجره. بالسمول بزنس لما مشروع ب 10 15000 موضوع ثاني مش موضوع مشروع مئات الاف الملايين فلوس
صح
just talking about how much Aapif struggled for one of the customer side. Aapif wanted to do everything in the right way, but the other guy was really refusing to see it. They gave him a list of IP address. After he did, no, sorry. It's a new IP address list. After that, the firewall was closed. After that, many kind of problem, and none of this was his problem. All of the problem was coming from the same like
Example, now SIP carrier given to the cloud premises, the CPE, then they give all the parameters.
Yeah.
We request from them, they give the one sheet. Right?
Abdullah,
Then after that I can, normally I'm doing this SL1 AC line 100, I'm doing this correctly connected to the SIP, software.
What you are programming the root
Configure the parameters. I will take the call, receive the call, then that
We are giving
parameters are
only
correct.
SIP extension.
Then only I will start to that connection to my system.
Third party. This is
I
I'm
showed you the
sure
party, what you are programming, and you said for the Tiger, take this SIP extension.
If I have a problem,
You know the
See
minimum.
this.
I will remove the
This is
firewall
the
and
fix.
everything. I will correct it
Okay,
directly.
same
I
as
will
the
check
fax
my
we
system is
program,
working fine.
this is one
If it is
extension,
fine,
this
that
is
means
third party
the
SIP.
problem is there.
Okay.
I have to isolate that. Then
Now,
I will inform to them this
The
is
one
your part,
cable,
this is my part.
this is a ATA adapter of Grandstream. The cable will come out and it will go to the fax.
Not
For-
fax, not fax. I'm not talking about fax.
For the minibar.
Minibar.
Minibar same SIP extension we have given to Tiger guys. They've registered there. Whoever the calling that extension, it is going to the minibar menus.
Just you program any ordinary SIP extension?
And
Huh?
ask the hotel if this is a hotel. Ask what this new hotel or the old one.
This is new one. Yeah.
Suggest them a new extension. And
We will program extension.
Yeah, only extension. Just
should
we have
be,
to-
should be connected to the telephone. No.
No,
To the phone. No.
there will be a system, voicemail system. Voicemail is provided by you.
Voicemail.
Tiger.
Tiger. No, our voicemail we have.